The battle between Bob Iger and Elon Musk is just heating up, but folks, we're here to tell you there's much, much more. Sure, Musk knows all about Nelson Peltz trying partners in the battle that is for Disney, but that is just the beginning. You see, Elon Musk may be waging a far broader war on woke, and we're here to tell you, we think he's winning. Hello folks, welcome back to the Pro Channel, the place where we endeavor to enrich your day with truthful videos that explain entertainment and keep you ahead of the culture curve. Joining us today to help do so is Tommy Tables. Happy Saturday morning, Tommy.
Hello to you, Pro. Thank you for having me on.
It's a joy. Folks, let's dive in. We've talked about this article before. It's Mickey Views and it's Braden. If you have not watched Braden over on his YouTube channel, highly recommend. He's got an article called Elon Musk Knows Billionaire Now Amplifying Peltz's Restore the Magic campaign. We've covered this. We're not going to cover it again, except to say that for those of you who have not watched every single video and every single live stream, Nelson Peltz is a guy who wants to basically take control away from Bob Iger and put it back into the hands of the shareholders. He wants Disney to moderate itself. And so he has a Restore the Magic account on Twitter, /X, whatever you want to call it. And it put out this very hard-hitting tweet here, which outlines just how badly the Disney board has performed in comparison to other companies. It's awful. It's terrible. And Elon Musk actually retweeted this or reposted this, again, however you want to say it, thus causing an account that had 200 followers to suddenly have the kind of visibility that Elon Musk has, i.e. the biggest in the world. That is not all, though. Tommy, real quick before we get into what, much bigger stuff when it comes to Elon Musk and how this is sort of just one component of what he's doing, taking on wokeism. Tommy, your thoughts on Elon Musk going after Disney in tandem with Nelson Peltz?
Well, that's the dream, isn't it? I mean, for those of us who have been watching with dismay the decline of Disney in the last couple of years, we've been hoping for a savior, a white knight to come in. You can see by the screen on the screen that you're showing right now, the board, the Disney under that board it's just been a disaster. I mean, never has the color red been used so well. And it just baffles me how the rest of the shareholders have allowed that sort of thing to continue and to keep on continuing. So when we first heard about Peltz coming in with Trian earlier on, we were all under the hope that, maybe he would be able to wrangle a seat on the board, that he would be able to cause some change. As things went, he had a deal with Iger, kind of went away for a while, which was unfortunate. But now he's back. Now he seems, quite frankly, completely intent on not only getting a seat for himself, but for, I think for one of his allies. And it's exciting to see. He's gathered a lot of support. He's gotten shares from Ike Perlmutter, and there was a lot of speculation. I think you might have kicked off some of that about how perhaps after Elon's, shall we say, F-bomb announcement,
right? Go fund yourself,
Iger,
Bob.
Go fund yourself. That there was speculation perhaps that maybe Elon would also, throw a couple of dollars Peltz's way. Now, I don't think we've seen that play out, but my gosh, wouldn't that be the financial Avengers of the century?
Hey guys, I'm the largest shareholder in this company. The largest independent listen to me.
I want to come back to that for a second, Nelson.
Shareholder in this company.
Well, and the visibility that he's giving, though, I think is worth just innumerable amounts of money. Now, one of the things, Tommy, that we've been watching is that the mainstream media, the press, the corporate narrative has been such to attack Elon Musk dramatically, whereas he was once their favorite guy. He was the star. Bring him on, put him in an Iron Man movie. Quick. He's our guy. We love him. Now he's more like Teflon Elon because they're attacking him over and over and over. Nothing seems to stick. But here's where they are, the corporate media. This out of the Associated Press: media workers strike to protest layoffs at New York Daily News, Forbes, and Condé Nast. And this by Philip Marcello. Tommy, what it goes on to talk about is there has been a tremendous reduction in journalists, or journalists, as some people like to call them. But there's been a dramatic decrease. Yes. Los Angeles Times laid off more than 100 employees. You've got Time Magazine, Condé Nast, Vogue, Vanity Fair, GQ, significant job cuts on all of those. The Washington Post has laid off more than 200 workers. The entire staff of Sports Illustrated gone. And the list goes on and on. We expect Rolling Stone surely to appear somewhere, sometime, someplace. And, well, they're still tweeting about it down here on X, even though they said they would all leave. Tommy, the mainstream corporate media has utterly decimated its trust with the public. And the way that you can know that is because this is an election year. This is and it's not just an election year. This is the year, the last time that they can take on Orange Man Bad. And so this should be, they should be on cloud nine. They should be top shelf inside the journalism industry. They're not. So let's take a look at this then, Tommy. If we take a look at this out of CBS News, what's going on at X? At the same time that all of the major corporations are cutting back on their journalists dramatically, Musk signs content deals with Don Lemon, Tulsi Gabbard, Jim Rome, and this is just the beginning. Of course, this article out of CBS News is by Kate Gibson. Says Elon Musk's social media company X is unveiling 3 new shows featuring former CNN anchor Don Lemon, former U.S. Congresswoman Tulsi Gabbard, and sports radio host and former ESPN star Jim Rome. Goes on to talk about this. It seems to me, Tommy, that as we watch X grow in terms of its users, and if I'm not mistaken, the last month was the most popular month ever for X. Elon Musk is growing and growing while the journalists are going and going away. They're going home. And it's folks like you, it's folks like me who are sort of taking this job of reporting the news accurately. And I think it's punched a hole through it. So let me tell you, Tommy, where I'm going with this. And then we've got a heck of a story to talk about. I think that when Musk bought X, I think that put pressure on YouTube and other outlets or other platforms where they couldn't really continue with the path forward of censorship and forcing people to toe a particular political line. And what Musk did is he reinserted freedom of thought back into the conversation online, back into the digital town square. And by doing so, just by the fact that X exists and that it allows voices of contention on the platform, it's kept the others in check. And by doing that, Tommy, what that has done is that has, I think, forced the journalists to be in a very difficult situation because they wanted to, they didn't need to. This was ultimately detrimental to them and their careers. But they all wanted, and maybe the corporations empowered this, to form a narrative based on power rather than truth, right? This is a
100%.
Post-truth world.
Oh, yeah.
And I think that Musk has really put the stake in the heart of wokeism, and I think we're watching woke fall apart, not just at Disney, but more broadly. Tommy, break down where I'm wrong or tell me where you think I'm right, whichever the case might be.
100%. And I mean, before we continue on, I just want to say I don't think anybody here is celebrating the fact that people are losing their jobs. It's always, something that is unfortunate, and it's not something pleasant. That being said, though, the fact that you pointed out that in an election year, and not just any election year, but like capital THE, the election year, so many of these companies are laying people off. It boggles the mind. Like, they should be doing the opposite. They should be hiring people, right? Just gearing up for nonstop coverage. And to your point about Elon, it was when Don Lemon joined X, and I think that was January 9th, actually, not too long ago. And Tucker Carlson congratulated him. He said, congratulations, it's a new world, welcome. And Don Lemon responds, thanks, Tucker. And that right there was a bit of was a sea change. Like, I mean, you would never, ever expect those two, should we say it, personalities to have a dialogue. And yet that began. And I think just those simple words showed that X could be, for the first time in the media that I've ever seen, a way to start bridging that horrible divide. And so the other thing to keep in mind too, that always kind of vexes me a little bit, and I have friends who always love to, kind of rag on Elon and dismiss him and whatnot. This guy made PayPal. This guy created the largest electric vehicle company in the world, the most successful one. This guy. I want
to come back to that in a moment. Finish your thought, Tommy. I want to come back to that in just a minute. I've got a thought on that.
He not only made the company, he created the infrastructure, the supercharger stations with a plan for it all throughout North America. He is taking us to Mars. Like, he has created a successful rocket ship company. And so he goes out and buys Twitter. People start ragging on him. And as you said, the media, sort of public opinion shifted immediately. It was no longer Tony Stark. He was like Lex Luthor, right?
Yes. And they wanted all the troglodytes who just listen to this stuff and just imbibe it and don't consider and don't use critical thinking. They want them to begin parroting that all throughout society. Elon Musk, Lex Luthor. Elon Musk, Lex Luthor.
And the unfettered joy that was being taken in Twitter value going down, in losing advertisers. It was incredible. And yet these people, how many of those people who are criticizing him have built their own successful rocket ship company? And it's just like Elon operates at another level. And I think even his most ardent detractor has to admit that. And we're starting to see this now, that buying Twitter wasn't just some random fluke. It is paying off for him in spades. And there's a long-term plan for that, which he's already revealed to us. But no one believes that he'll be able to do it. And yet he's doing it.
And it may be, Tommy, that he's looking at this and saying, well, Musk's goal is that we become a multi-planetary species. He wants us on Earth and Mars, and he wants a moon base as well. And he may be looking at it and say, well, that's great and dandy, but maybe if we're, maybe if the species is unraveling, maybe it doesn't matter what rock you put us on if we're all acting like a bunch of idiots and morons. And I think we've been there for the past many years. But Tommy, I want to give you an example. Okay, so why the journalists are losing their jobs. So remember that at the same time that Musk is buying up all of these personalities, the journalists are losing their jobs, and they had to have lost trust. Otherwise, why would they be losing their jobs? So think about this, Tommy. Over the last couple of weeks, there was this big story that as the polar vortex came down into North America and the place got really cold, right? The United States was really cold. And all of a sudden, electric cars did not work any longer, and Teslas did not work. And that's been a big story. And this comes on the heels of many stories, I think, intended to damage Elon Musk, but I don't think that they're based necessarily on truth. And when I've talked about this in the past, there's a very strong emotional reaction, apparently, to EVs and all of that. And so I just want to be specific only to Teslas here. But Tommy, very simple question here. Tommy, has it ever been cold in the winter before?
Pro, as you might be aware, I am from the Great White North of Canada, and I can heartily attest to the fact that, yes, it has been very cold and cold.
Tommy, are there Teslas in Canada?
There are tons of them. I see them all.
Why in 2024 did this just begin that all of a sudden Teslas don't work in the winter? Why was this not a story for a decade?
Yeah, it's funny, isn't it?
Oh, wait. I looked into this, Tommy. I've got an answer on this, actually. I looked into this.
All right.
Turns out that all those stories came out of Chicago. And all those stories came out of Chicago because apparently there's some sort of special rideshare program in Chicago. And you can get into a Tesla and never have driven a Tesla before or have any idea how an electric car works or anything. And you get in the car and run it down to 0% battery, and then it can't charge because you roll it in dead and it can't heat up to charge the battery whatsoever. The reason it all comes out of Chicago is because there's just this one very particular, peculiar situation that they've got going on there. Doesn't seem to be affecting any other place. I'm not telling you that EVs are great in the cold. I'm here to tell you that if this was not manufactured, you'd have been hearing about this for 10 years. You would have heard people, screeching, why does my car not work in the winter? You've never heard any of those complaints because they needed to find a way to make this happen. And that is the attack on Elon. But I want to show you how this is going. So, Tommy, take a look at this article right now. This is out of Jalopnik, and it's by Steve De Silva. And you're going to have a lot of fun with this one because, and folks, this is, thank you for hanging with us. This is the grand finale. You're going to appreciate that you stayed with the conversation this long. Mr. Beast raked in over $260,000 peddling car disinformation and chocolate on Twitter. Tommy, the chances that headline are accurate, what would you give that?
Whoa, I'd say, can I go into like the
Seems a little slanted, Tommy. What don't you think?
0.99% possibility, maybe
Less than 1% chance.
Right?
Yes.
Yeah.
So let's take a look at it. Let's see what it says. But folks, this is why they're being laid off. And like Tommy said, we don't take any joy in journalists losing their jobs. We take great joy that we're here to tell the truth, and we hope that we do a good job of it, and you all reward us for doing so. And we take great joy in the fact that Elon Musk seems to be doing well with X and Twitter, and that he's working hard to take down the woke, what would you say, the woke infection at Disney and beyond. We don't take joy in people losing their jobs, but this is why, these kinds of articles. Here's the article. YouTuber Mr. Beast built an empire out of flashy, high-dollar videos that rake in Zoomer eyes and advertiser cash out of apparently sheer curiosity. He recently posted one of those videos directly to Twitter/X in order to test out the new ad revenue model under Elon Musk, a video that just so happened to tout the features of the Tesla Model X. 1 week later, the video has raked in $263,655 in ad revenue. Not bad for a video he'd already published on another platform. The clip itself, however, featured all sorts of fun misinformation about the cars involved. Prices, features, and all sorts of other stats are just flat out wrong. We'll get to that in just a moment. But what I want to ask you, Tommy, is it seems to me that Musk is developing Twitter so that it can take on YouTube and other major platforms soon. It's not there yet, but it seems to me he's reaching out to the big content creators first and bringing them on board. And then hopefully he's going to get it where, you can have multiple releases on multiple platforms if you're a content creator. Tommy, your thoughts on this amount of money being made off Mr. Beast's first video ever posted to Twitter?
Well, can I give you my thoughts on this article? Because I'm actually very impressed that you were able to make it past the first sentence. Like, those
you have no idea. Get ready for the rest of this. It's gonna blow your mind.
If I had a mouse in my hand right now, I'd be clicking X. Like, it's the hubris, the arrogance. Oh, it's not bad that this video made 265. Like, who is this person? Like, my gosh, it's enough to make me want to eat my words a little bit. But all that to be said, X cannot get there fast enough. This type of article is the past, and I think Elon sees that.
That's a great way to say it. That is a great way to say it. We are watching a relic of the past when we read these articles. But let me continue on, Tommy, so that we can see what's going on here. Again, folks, this is why the journalists are losing their jobs. This is why the outlets, the access media outlets, are going down. This is why the corporate narrative is failing. This is why the wokesters at Disney and beyond are having a very tough time defeating Teflon Elon. Mr. Beast's $1 car was purchased as a rolling shell for $1, sure, but the YouTuber claims that $20,000 was immediately poured into it to turn it into a functioning car. Of course, that doesn't matter much when the vehicle was immediately abandoned before another word could be said, so the video could skip most cars available today and catapult up to the $100,000 price point, represented by a Tesla Model X. Now, you can, of course, buy a Model X for far less than $100,000, depending on if you buy it new, used, or depending on the package that you buy. Can you get it over $100,000? Sure, you can go buy the Tesla Model X Plaid and go up to $120,000 if you want, but it's not necessarily over $100K. Beast talks about the self-driving capabilities of Tesla, backing up Musk's offset line that the autopilot software is the real value proposition. He did make sure to say that sleeping behind the wheel isn't allowed, but made a show of no longer driving the car once autopilot was engaged. Well, Tommy, it can drive itself. Depending on what country you're in, they'll have different rules. I know in the United States that you're supposed to keep tension on the wheel somehow, some way, so that you prove that your hand, or that your hand is on the wheel and that you're being observant. But the car will drive itself. It will go from one point to another point completely on its own. All it requires is tension on the wheel. And if you're in a country that would allow you to completely be hands-free, I don't see anything that would stop it. So I don't know what this disinformation is that it's talking about. I think the article itself is disinformation, and I think it is one of the last cries. As you said, Tommy, it is a relic of the past. We are watching what we have suffered under, which is a bunch of fake news ninnies now squealing as they go down in flames. Tommy, your thoughts about the idea that Elon Musk may, do you agree with me that Elon Musk actually is perhaps the head of the spear in destroying the woke movement?
Oh yeah, 100%. And when he bought Twitter, or X, or whatever you call it these days, that the shockwaves from that were palpable, because at the time, as everyone is aware, Twitter was sort of the core, I would say, of wokeism. That was where the loudest voices congregated. That's where everyone, well, that's where everyone still congregates. That's where, you know, foreign policy is made. That's where the users were able to convince a lot of these companies that they were the paying customer, when in fact they weren't. It was the silent majority that was unfortunately too silent. But when he bought that, it cut the knees off of the entire movement. And that's why you've been seeing so much squealing. And I mean, that article, good gravy. Like, if you had told me that thing was written in 2017, I would have believed you. That the pettiness, the jealousy that radiates off of that article. You know, here's a guy sneering at someone else, at a person whose company developed Minority Report self-driving cars, right? Like, how do you achieve that level of hubris? Anyway, I won't rant too much about that, but it blows my mind, and I think it shows you how people continue to this day to keep underestimating Elon to their detriment and their disadvantage.
Just by the fact that he has kept Twitter/X relatively free speech, free dialogue, free thought, and free discourse, it has put pressure on everyone else out there where they can't go as far, they can't be as draconian as they originally probably would have liked to have been. I think he has freed the Western world from being subjugated completely to a corporate narrative that was dogmatic and fully embraced by the New Age hippies, who are total 100% in favor of an oligarchy for some strange reason. And Tommy, I would say too that his play against Disney, I think he's recognized that Disney and Bob Iger, that they are sitting at the top of the mountain when it comes to holding our cultural mythos and stories, our legends. And he sees the infection that's there, the rot that's there, and for whatever reason, he's decided that that is the thing to take down. And, you know, just by providing the visibility to Nelson Peltz that he is, as long as the name Elon Musk makes Bob Iger sweat, I think that's a good thing. Tommy, final thoughts.
Absolutely. Well, I mean, my view of it is that his purchase of Twitter is basically the metaphorical kicking of the pendulum. It's just having it start to shift back from the extreme edge that it's reached. And it almost feels like our version in our current year of, you know, that guy running down the hallway and saying, everybody, the sun revolves, or like the earth revolves around the sun, and it's not that way. Like, the earth's not flat, you know, like it's one of those moments where, as you said, it liberates you from this will be looked back on by historians as definitely an inflection point in our history. And I really don't think people give Elon enough credit to, like, when he does something, he targets it with precision, and it's always for a reason. And it's playing out now, and we're going to keep seeing those effects. I'm in the next year, in the next 5 years, I'm really curious to see where this thing goes. And I mean, will he be able to make X the everything app? If anyone can do it, it's him.
That's right. Elon Musk, of course, not a perfect person. None of us are.
No, of course not.
That said, folks, in a world that is divided based on truth versus power, where the journalists and the educators of our day want us to all believe in a post-truth world, we'll take Elon Musk and his desire to base things on facts anytime, any day, anywhere, and that's what we base this channel on as well. Tommy, thank you so much for being here today. And folks, if you want to check out Tommy Tables, he is the leader behind so much of our exclusive member content here on the channel. You can check out that content for the price of a soda. It's only $3 per month, and we have a ton of fantastic content, and Tommy makes that possible. Thank you so much, Tommy.
Oh, it's an absolute pleasure. Thank you for the opportunity.
Absolutely. All right, folks, like, share, subscribe, and when you click it, you stick it to the algorithms. It's the notification bell. Drop a comment down below. Let us know your thoughts. And folks, wherever you are and whatever you're doing, keep learning, keep growing, keep having fun, and keep believing in the truth.
Oh.
home.
What are you doing?
Well, you see, I wanted to get some inside scoops on Disney and their different corporations, if you know what I mean. So I figured by looking into this fistbowl and sucking it randomly with my own energy that I pay for, you paid for, I could do the whole experience where you can be a master and spy on your targets.
You're an idiot. If you want to get the inside scoop on Disney or even other media organizations, you should check out thatparkplace.com and subscribe to WDW Pro's YouTube channel. That'd be way easier, more accurate, and less dumb.
Are you saying I won't get accurate information this way?
No, you can't.
Who'd have think?